Good morning, my name is Steve Fleurimont, and this presentation is for the final. Our team used Ubuntu. This particular version of Ubuntu is version 14.04. I've got terminal open, and I just entered a command which is ls, which is list your files. Shows you all the folders that you have and files and stuff of that nature. ls -l is list your files in long format. It's very useful if you're trying to get a little bit more information about the particular files that are in there and your different folders and things of that sort. If you type in ls -a, it lists all your files across all of the users, which is very useful if you're trying to really dig in there and find something that you've got in the system. If you have a printer, LPQ will tell you which printer you have and if it's available and its current status. That's installed into the Ubuntu system. Very useful. In order to do plain text conversions in PostScript, I like to use a program called InScript. It's not currently installed on this particular version. So to install it from the terminal, you can just type sudo apt-get install and the name of the actual program. In this case, it's InScript. It'll actually run the installation for you after you put in your password, of course, as a root user. Very, very useful to run it in terminal because you can actually just elevate your user status by utilizing sudo, which is really cool. I love just the way the interface is in Ubuntu. It's very, very, very beautiful and just gives you a very immersive feel. The virtual machine that I'm using is actually VMware 11, which is the latest version of the VMware as my emulator. And close this terminal. The next command we're going to take a look at is pwd, which tells you where you currently are within your file directory. If you type in just the letter W, it tells you who's logged in and what they're doing specifically. It's useful on a shared network. And if you type the word who, it tells you who's logged in and where they're coming from specifically as far as a port of entry. I've got the wobbly window effect here. PS-U tells you a list of all the users that are currently using Ubuntu. In this case, it's just particularly me. PASSWD lets you change your user password, and in order to do so, you have to enter your current Unix password and then create a new one. It asks you to put it twice, which is really cool. You could just do it from here instead of going to the GUI to do it. Lynx is a very cool tool. It's an actually terminal-based web browser. You can actually use it to look at non-flash items. It's just the text of the actual web page, and you can actually look at it directly from terminal, which is really cool. It also has a very useful FTP function where you can actually import files and transfer files directly from there as well if you have it connected to a file server. RLogin is the remote control host feature. It lets you log on to connect to a remote host. Very useful. You've got different commands here: blind address, cipher, config file, blind address, and local. Very cool feature. You can find the date directly from terminal as well, just by typing date. It tells you the date, Friday, July 10th. Also gives you the time as well, 24-hour format. You can type in CAL, which is Cal. It gives you the calendar. Very, very useful. And if you type in who am I, it gives you your own username, which you're currently logged in under, so you can see which user you're actually using. I've got this cool feature installed here in Ubuntu, which is Compass. It really gives you a lot of control and gives you a 3D effect in spinning your desktop around like a cube. I think that's really cool. In order to see the system resources, you can go into System Monitor. It gives you CPU history, memory usage, and network history as well. The file systems tells you the current hard drive's size and capacity. Processes allow you to terminate or end processes that are running as well, or end applications. It's very useful. Here's a short video about Ubuntu. It's called GNOME, which is actually another type of a skin or additional interface. It's very cool. I've also got Chrome installed here and Firefox. Those are the two browsers that I use the most, and with the desktop feature you can actually pan out different windows and put them in different desktops without having to change your visual. You can just do it directly from the desktop control icon. A very useful tool that I use sometimes, for example, if you have like a unresponsive window or you're trying to close a window in the background, is xkill. So you type in sudo xkill and enter, then you put in your Ubuntu password, because it is a higher level root function, and it gives you the ability to give you a little icon to click on any window or program in the background and close it, force close it, without having to open the system manager. Very cool. There it is, you can see it here. Just taking out the smaller scheme. Very useful. I like Ubuntu GNOME, even though I don't have it installed on this particular desktop. It has a lot of cool features. There's many different packages you can select from in GNOME, very similar to the base version of Ubuntu. It just lets you customize things a little more. It also allows you to alter your appearance. It's very similar to, for example, to like if you were a Windows user, how you use themes. Ubuntu is highly customizable. It's one of the things I really like about the OS, is the fact that you can pretty much do anything with it that you want. Your imagination is your only limitation. Here I'm just showing just the power capability of the actual system and rendering and handling multiple stress loads. You can open a bunch of different web browsers and spread them across different desktops and see how the computer reacts to it. Pretty seamless. Yeah. Handles it with no problem. I just like this cube feature, it's really cool. Keep playing with it. Let's close all these windows and look at some other functionality within the system in Ubuntu. If you go to Preferences, you can actually look into your browser security settings by selecting Security. There's different options. You can ask the browser to warn you when you try to install an add-on. You can add specific sites to exception list that gives them broader access and control. You can set master passwords for different sites. You can also alter your privacy settings as well, so that you won't be tracked or store your cookies and things like that, or tab history. And here are some advanced options as well. Very useful. Back to our desktop. Not much stress was used. Now we're going to go ahead and add a user using terminal. You go to sudo add user, you put that into the terminal, and you select the username. In this case, I'm going to purposely do it wrong so you could see. You enter your password. The capital P totally threw off the expression configuration variables. If you ever have any kind of issues, or you want some type of additional insight using a particular command, you can go into sort of like a user manual by typing man add user. It's a systems manager. It tells you all the different options for that particular function. As you can see, it gives you systems options for adding users, adding groups, different command options, different group options, and how to do it. It's very useful. Very, very cool. Now we're going to actually do it the right way. So we're going to type in sudo add user, and we're going to put in Plutarch. Now it's creating the user Plutarch, adding its own group and creating its directory and files. It's asking me to create a new password, so for the new user, so I'm creating it. Then it's going to actually enter it twice. And it's going to ask you to put a name or, different information, but you just leave it blank, enter it for the default. It's asking you if the information is correct. You type Y, and now Plutarch is created as a new user. Very simple. Now we're going to add a group, so we're going to type in sudo add group in a fresh new terminal, and we're going to call the group Romans. Ask you for your password since it's a root function, and Added group Romans. Done. That fast. PS-U lists all users. Right now we're logged in as the Ubuntu user. ls lists all the files. I just personally find this user interface very beautiful. If you have any kind of questions or you're looking for like a resource to be able to expand your knowledge base on Ubuntu, you can actually go to ubuntu.com and then click on developer if it's a technical issue and you're looking to develop different expansive content for it. But if you have general questions, you can go into community and you can find help and information and support as well right from the site. Very useful. They have a really large online community, so if you have some kind of problem or you're experiencing trouble, chances are someone else has experienced the same thing and they can help you out. If you go into system settings, it gives you a very specific GUI that can allow you to alter different functions. It looks very similar to the Mac OS because the Mac OS is also Unix based. Brightness and lock allows you to control the brightness. Appearance allows you to change the background. There's language and support. If you want to change, for example, the language or the region formats, which is really cool. In this case, we'll just leave it in English. Text entry controls how you input text into the device. The displays let you control resolution and display types. Power lets you control power settings. Backups is pretty useful. It's almost like Time Machine in the Mac or Windows Restore, where you can actually save certain folders or file locations and retrieve them later on if something happens to the computer. Here are the details of my Ubuntu system. I'm using Ubuntu 14.04. Default applications for specific functions, like for example, mail is used by Thunderbird, and our default browser is currently set as Firefox, and removable media options and things of that sort. Here's software and updates. You could select to have it update, and here are our time and dates settings. Right now we're set to Los Angeles. Let's put that back on the East Coast. And if you go into Universal Access, it gives you different accessibility options for people that are impaired. And user accounts, if you go into user accounts, you'll see that the user we created is there, Plutarch. Really awesome. So if you ever use Terminal to create a user, you can go into system settings and click on user accounts to see if it was successful, completely successful. Now I'm going to show you a few things that are really cool and specific to Ubuntu. I've got this application that I've installed called Compass. It's like a very immersive GUI. It lets you change different settings. If you go into the Compass Manager, it allows you to change the way the cube and different functions and windows actually perform or behave. I'm going to go and select this cube reflection and deformation. It's going to give the cube a spherical aesthetic. So when it spins kind of in a circle. It's really cool. Versus it just being cubed. weird how you can actually change specific functions. And if you don't like them, you can just remove them and revert back to the way they were before. You can search your computer by using the Ubuntu search function. It's very useful if you have a file that you can't seem to find, but you know what it's called. You could just search for it directly. We're back in the company's config settings manager. I'm playing around with different functions. If you look into Ubuntu server, you can actually download server applications and technology. If you want a server setup, it's right here. It's open source. It's really cool. I already have a version of Ubuntu server running on a different system, so I'm not going to actually download this one. To enter into the root file, you can just type in sudo I or cd/root. It takes you directly to the root folder within terminal. You can go ahead and list all the files there as well. Kill PID ends process with the ID that's given. In this case, there was no particular process ID, so we're just going to use xkill. And that's it. That concludes my presentation. Of Ubuntu. Now, in VMware, there are different specific functions that you can see as well. You could actually have the side pane and go into full screen mode as well if you just want to use the full screen. And within the GUI itself, you can actually enter into the other user just by dropping down and selecting user, entering the password. In this case, we created Plutarch. It's really nice that you can actually go right there and select the user desktop and be directly into the interface from that point on. Now we're going to go back to the main user, which is the Ubuntu. Type the password and we're back in.